So we like to think that chefs or judges in cooking shows know what good food and cooking techniques are like, and sometimes we just want to learn or mimic the people featured on them. Luckily for us, the Wii has some licensed cooking games that we can actually learn from. So here's a question for you. Do you think we can learn or have fun playing Wii games slapped with the culinary entertainment logo on it? With the Wii motion controls, anyone can mimic what a professional chef can do. So with that, let's take a look at some culinary games on the Wii and see what they're really like to play. Okay, so I'm sure most of us know how big Food Network channel is. So let's start with Food Network's Cook or Be Cooked, a game with a tagline that was way ahead of its time. This is actually Food Network's first and only game that promises real recipes taught by experts from Food Network, and we can learn tips and techniques straight from the Food Network kitchens. So jumping straight into the level select, you can see that the game begins with only a weekday breakfast recipe, and this acts as the tutorial. The premise of the game is actually really simple. You just need to reach a certain score to clear the level by mimicking the motions on the bottom right. And that means don't burn your house down, and don't make bad food. Surprisingly, this game does have a plot. You're introduced to Food Network experts Maury Thomas and Suze Forgelson, who are scouting for home cooks to unwillingly feature on Food Network. These two actually illegally break into your home by coming out of the TV in a fashion that's a little too much like The Ring. They even have the audacity to call you poor since, you know, it's not a big TV. You'll see the immediate plot hole here because they're here to teach you how to cook instead of scouting for talent. And this is actually where the game begins, by boiling water. The game's controls actually feels really intuitive with twisting the knobs, moving the pan around, and even chopping motions. And keep in mind, you're actually doing this with a Wiimote as well. And getting back on track, you're tasked with making eggs and bacon. You're also told that the food should try to come out at the same time so it's not cold. This adds some needed difficulty and depth to the game since you kind of have to juggle between prep, cooking, and timer management with all your different ingredients. So after cooking your eggs and bacon, with no sign of the boiling water by the way, you then serve it to the two chefs who judge and score your dish. Hilariously enough, you can actually make a dish so disgusting that the judges will be reeling in horror if you mess up way too many times.
Way overdone.
You know, you really shouldn't quit your day job.
Or you can just burn your house down.
Careful, you're about to have a fire. A fire? This meal is ruined. Let's go, Maury.
To be honest, the rest of the game pretty much plays like the tutorial. You'll just unlock more recipes, including foods like quesadilla, burgers, Tuscan Feast, and Chinese take-in. But there are a few new mechanics and motions the game throws at you to keep things fresh, like buttering a toast, pouring batter, washing your potatoes, rhythm games, and best of all is operating a microwave. Remember when I said that the controls feel intuitive? Well, I didn't say that they felt great. In fact, it's horrible and unresponsive to say the least. There are instances where I'll move my Wiimote, but it just won't register, or the game thinks I did it a bit too hard. In fact, I actually burnt one of the bacon because I could just not get the game to register a flip on the pancakes. And that's really it. Once you finish all the recipes, there's nothing to do. There's a 2-player mode, but I sadly didn't have anyone to play this at the time of recording. If you really want, you could watch the credits and be amazed that people actually put their name onto this game. So would I say this game's good? They tried, I guess. The game did give me some good laughs with the game over. The unresponsive controls and repetitive mechanics make the game okay at best. Yeah, this game's cooked.
Let's go, Maury.
But you know what game didn't cook at all? It's gonna be Hell's Kitchen. Yep, straight up, this game just belongs in the dumpster. And to know why, well, let me say this to you. What do you expect if Hell's Kitchen was a video game? An interesting cooking competition to see who has the best dish? A stressful but rewarding kitchen service? Or Gordon Ramsay yelling at you?
Move your...
Oh wait, he does that, my bad. As you probably know, this game is based off a TV series where two teams compete on making the best food and are judged the winner. But what if I told you that you do absolutely none of that? According to the back of the box, you'll master preparation, cooking, and service, all three of which are not fun at all. Preparation involves seating guests to a particular table, and that's it. I'm serious, that's it. That's actually it. In the kitchen, you'll be clicking on food bowls to prep and putting them on the grill, all while you try to manage the timer to be as close as possible. As you probably noticed, there is no cooking. Well, barely. It's just a glorified click and time management simulator. And for service, all you'll do is take the food to the correct table, wait for them to finish eating, then get their check. Again, that's it. I'm serious. In fact, that's probably the most demanding part of the game. There really is no depth to this game. You do get additional bowls of food as the days go on by, but the core gameplay never really changes at all. Oh yeah, and sometimes you get a day where you're just in the kitchen and you're playing as both teams. You could pretend the red and blue is there and you're still just putting food into the pans to cook, except without the service and prep. And if you think there's a plot to this game, there's really not one. You're kind of just thrown into the kitchen while Gordon stares you down the entire time.
Are we ready?
But you do have to survive 7 days of service. All in all, this game just feels like a very lazy cash grab. I mean, look at the guests. There's little variety in how they look. Like, can you say anything that's not lazy? And if you're expecting anything else from this game, at least you can rest easy knowing that there's an ad for a Hell's Kitchen in the main menu.
Don't miss.
Get out! I got out to here!
Gordon Ramsay in an all-new season of Hell's Kitchen.
Oh my god! How far do you want to push me? Scum, get out!
Coming soon on Fox.
Now, why this exists is a complete mystery to me. But unlike Food Network, at least you get recipes from this game straight from Gordon Ramsay himself, which is I mean, I guess something. But then you realize it's just more ads for his cookbook. Also, who the heck is gonna have their CRT like beside their kitchen to read this? Or like what? Seriously, I'm not even kidding when I say this is absolutely the worst licensed cooking game I've played. It's just straight up shovelware to me. Instead of making a restaurant management game, I really wish that they would have focused on making this game feel like you're a contestant on the show. I think that would have been a much better idea for Kitchen Nightmares. As for our next game, true to the actual show, Iron Chef involves you challenging famous chefs to a cookout. You cook the best dishes you can and you present them to the judge. And if you win, you'll have the satisfaction knowing that you just beat a legendary chef. At the start of the game, you create your own chef, and then you'll challenge other chefs higher and higher up the ladders. And if you ever played Punch-Out, that's basically the same idea. So after selecting your opponent, you're treated to an overly dramatic cutscene that involves a slow zoom of your character and your opponent. And then you shake hands with the host. Now, if you know Iron Chef, they throw a secret ingredient at you that you have to use. And this game follows that pretty well. In fact, the scene of the zucchini right here is actually composited pretty well, and it actually feels like the show kind of. And then there's another one of sweet potatoes. It actually feels like they put effort into this game. It's much better than like Hell's Kitchen or something. And talking about the Iron Chef format, you're actually tasked with selecting dishes to cook and to present them to the judge. And this is where the gameplay actually really starts. Each dish requires a certain amount of task, and you can basically think of those as mini games. They're basically like the steps in Food Network. Also similar is the movements and actions and... Oh my god, what the fuck is that? Oh yeah, that's just Alton Brown, who basically shows up every now and then to give you tips or provide fun facts on food, which is actually pretty cool to listen to, by the way.
Kneading stretches the gluten, which can then capture gases, allowing the bread to rise.
But yeah, unlike the Food Network game, it does feel like there's much more variety in tasks. Like, you get to operate a mixer, seal a pie, and you even get to plate and decorate your own food. Also, like the previous games I covered, it feels very hard to actually lose or do bad in these games. You'll mess up here and there, but it never feels like you're actually close to losing. There is what I assume to be a fake timer in the top right for all your dishes, but these matches don't obviously last an actual hour. That said, Iron Chef did find a way to make these games feel suspenseful and tense, and that's during the actual judging. Dishes are presented to the judge, and their snarky comments can leave you teetering on edge, even if you know that you did good.
Could say a lot more about this, other than it did not appeal to me.
Or they can be really weird.
I just want to take this meal to a private room and talk dirty to it.
Yeah, the ESRB said this game is for everyone 10 and up, by the way. By now, you've pretty much seen everything. The rest of the game is just basically the same minigames, but with different ingredients. All in all, I still appreciate how silly this game is, and even though it's not the best, it doesn't feel like a lazy cash grab or shovelware by any means. I'm going to call it actually good.